Well, I want to put this out and I want to be bluntly honest on it because sometimes I do hold back on stuff, and I know I didn't know exactly what this guy was going to do, the FBI director, but kind of surprised me he didn't do anything at all. I thought maybe he was just going to push the ball onto Loretta Lynch. Now, me personally, let me just tell you this right from the get-go. If Hillary gets in, we're probably good. She's a hawk. She's a real hawk. She's not a peacenik. And she's also pissed off Vladimir Putin big time. He doesn't want her in. I know that. I put out that he's going to drop the dimes on her and all that. Yeah. But she might get in anyway because, like, obviously, like Warren Buffett and, even the guy that, who the hell was it, the guy that used to own Google, said she's going to be the next president. Warren Buffett said it years ago. Now, it's not that he is being political there. He knows something. I mean, it's obvious that all these top Republican establishment people are jumping ship and going on her side. Now, with Trump, it's say he won. That slogan, I don't even trust the guy all the way. I mean, it's kind of fishy that he used to, praise the hell out of the Clintons forever, and it wasn't just politics. I mean, he praised the hell out of them. The greatest president that we ever had. I don't know what the hell is. I don't even know what's with this guy. But I'm looking at it like USA is going down due to debt anyway. It's going to hit like near $20 trillion. This guy, Comey, whatever the hell his name is, comb his hair. Um, he's he's typical, I guess, of he may know his stuff. He knows how to talk in front of people. He knows how to put that image on, but he toes the line. He's a freaking weasel, basically. That's why I'm not in the government anymore or nothing like. I was in the government for a little while. I was in the Marine Corps for quite a while, and back when Billy Boy was in also. And I could tell you that I don't toe the line that kind of way, not at all. I could talk eloquent when I want to, but when it comes right down to it, I'll tell them to go to hell. And maybe that really has something to do with my. I just found out about my lineage. I knew I had Confederate lineage somewhere. I didn't know what the hell it was. I found out who they were. It's all my last name. I go all the way back to the American Revolutionary War, 1776. Three members of my family, direct grandfathers and stuff, that were in there with my last name, and they, I almost sometimes I think it's in my DNA because I just can't put up with this bullshit. No way in hell. I loathe the government, man. Anytime I was even working for the government, I was thinking, well, what a bunch of. But you know what? I'll tell you something, just as a side note. Anybody that's in business will tell you the worst people they ever freaking hire, that they're least productive, they ain't worth a damn, is people that come out of the freaking government, whether it's the federal government or the state government. I'm talking about people that are in business that have to make money, that have to scramble. These are the worst scum going. Yet, every time we got a problem, let's hire more government to freaking fix it for us. The point is, we don't need any of these jerks, man. My opinion now my opinion on Hillary, she's like it's worse than treason. But I think it might be good that even if she got in, who the hell knows? I'm not going to listen to her. I don't give a shit what law she tries to pass or what agency she says anything about. I ain't gonna listen to her. Too bad. And I'll fight the power all the way. That's what it is. Trump gets in. He could be a yo-yo too. I mean, I don't really give a shit about these people. You got to remember how the hell this country was founded. Not by going through the legal system. It wasn't through that way. Just didn't do what the hell they told us to do. And then when they try to freaking put the hammer on us, we fought back. That's what happened. Now with her, I think she's going to be totally exposed by Vladimir Putin. But you got to remember something. In California, good example. It's I could say it's rumored to be that, and it's probably not a rumor though. I mean, but the way they came up with these statistics is that Bernie Sanders, when you're looking at the polling, not the actual voting precincts or where the votes were actually coming in, and they were taking like an estimate of what people thought how the election was going, they figured that Bernie won 69% to 31%. But when the final tabulation occurred, she won. Now, our voting system doesn't have, I think there was a voting system called True Vote way back when that was developed by somebody out of Georgia. It had a car accident, by the way. And I think it was True Vote. And what it did was it gave a paper receipt. And that paper receipt had a number on it. You can look it up on the internet and verify that your vote is in the system and the way you voted. So it had an audit trail. You know, a key freaking thing for anything accounting wise. You know, audit trail big time. So anybody that voted would get this paper receipt. You know, it would stop all the freaking garbage going on, right? Well, you know, that guy, he was killed, and they're not using that software anymore. And it's pretty. I know the machines are pretty damn well rigged. So she could possibly get in. I don't think the American people are going to actually vote for her. They might have hesitations about Trump, like I do too. But I'm like, I ain't vote for this lady. No way in hell. Actually, like I said, my opinion is like her and all her supporters ought to be sent off to northern Alaska. That'll be our Siberia. I don't give a shit. We can have our own Siberia. Put them in the oil rigs and get them to work. You know, doing something. But Putin, this is what I think is going to happen though. With Trump, he's going to get along okay with Putin. That's a biggie. He's going to get along with Putin okay. Actually, you know I slammed Putin on a lot of my videos before and told him, well, yeah, he's this and that. But, you know, that's partly because I'm getting sick of these people freaking worshiping this guy like he's the god of the earth. He's a dictator, man. Come on. You know, he's like he's a Russian mafioso boss, man, big time. That's what he is. And he don't, it's like an image, right? But he actually is, character-wise, he's like 1,000 times better than Hillary, easily. Oh, God. And he's far more disciplined than her. She's an idiot, actually, to tell you the truth. Now, when it comes down to between, like, strategies and politics, Putin versus Hillary, Hillary's in the White House, no contest. She's going to wreck this country all the way. And, you know, maybe that's what needs to happen to freaking destroy the freaking establishment. But, unfortunately, if that happens and, you know, there's chaos in the United States or something like that. Actually, see, I think chaos is coming to the United States even if Trump gets in because we are on a headlong collision course with the debt, with the government. And, you know, I keep bringing up that thing about Deal.com. Those are people that are, it's a military site that's a non-profit military site. It's not a conspiracy, scare you for money site. I mean, they even talk about, you know, GDP in the United States and the military expenditures going down to 10% of the levels that they are today by 2025, and the population going down to 20% of its level today with, you know, mass exodus and starvation. Man, I can't believe all that stuff, but, you know, I could believe that the basic trend is there, that the GDP and the military expenditures are going to go down in the United States because of the debt, and that there's going to be some major problems, even with all our just-in-time, you know, food deliveries and, you know, all this other garbage. I mean, one EMP would freaking set the whole nation in chaos, even if it was just in the Northeast. And you don't know who could be doing it. It could be a terrorist. I don't know. Yeah, right. Come on. Anyway, so I think she pissed off Vlad big time by saying he was like Adolf Hitler. I think on one of my videos I said he was like Adolf Hitler. I know he's not like Adolf Hitler, you know, but I was just gigging him. And, you know, but the thing is, I'm not the Secretary of State. You know, I'm not working for the government, right? I was just getting sick of the freaking bloggers out there, you know, thinking that Vlad is a great guy. I know Vlad is a dictator. Come on, you know, I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. He's not Santa Claus. He's not Santa Claus. He's gonna fix all the world's problems. But he's nowhere near. He's not as worse than. Like he's pretty much your average freaking leader in the country, in the world, you know. They're all like that, you know. Actually, I think Vlad is better than John Kerry or Obama, you know, and better than Herbert Walker. Well, I respected Herbert Walker Bush, even though I know he's CIA, but I didn't like George Bush, right? You know, the older Bush. I respected that guy. I know he's a criminal, but I respected him as a criminal. I guess Putin's a criminal too, right? Yeah, he is. Yeah, but he's a smart criminal. He's a slick one. I respect slick criminals. And anyway, but Hillary's not a slick criminal, and Slick Willie's not a slick criminal. But Willie is a lot smarter than Hillary. No doubt about it. Um, she has actually, she's basically freaking threatened Russia to the max. And she's got the nuclear briefcase, unless she leaves it in the bathroom when she was putting on her makeup or some shit. That'd be another thing. She doesn't know nothing about those emails. Yeah, I left the freaking nuclear briefcase in the bathroom when I was putting on the makeup because, I got to change my pantyhose every freaking, 30 minutes because I keep taking a dump, because I got health problems. Yeah, she could. She's another one, man. Anyway, and then you got Uma. Well, anyway, we're going down, and that when I look at it like with this, we're probably going to go to like some kind of like military conflict stuff. I don't really buy into the nuclear stuff though. I would think that the EMP would, if there's ever like a real conflict, biological weapons would be number one because you couldn't freaking trace them. In other words, you could release a biological agent in like New York City or Boston or LA or well, LA probably wouldn't work as well. Well, maybe it would. I don't know. It's kind of like spread out, but Indianapolis, Atlanta, whatever, Dallas, and nobody would know what the hell's going on with all these people dropping like flies. Oh, it's an epidemic. It could be a biological agent. Maybe they'll figure it out, though. That would be one way they would do it. Now, an obvious way they would do something is EMP, but they could blame it on somebody else. I don't know who. Hamas. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I'm just throwing a word out there. And that would freaking create havoc in the financial system and the just-in-time delivery system and all the computers that run not just our financial BS, which is that's what it is, but also our just-in-time delivery system and everything that's in New York City, around, in the whole metropolitan area. If you've ever been up there, you realize the New York metropolitan area is huge. It makes... I remember a lot of times people say, yeah, I'm from the city. And when they went up there, they were like, holy smokes. Way bigger. If there's something in that area, that would knock out probably 20% of our GDP temporarily, and there'd be mass problems. Now, that's one thing. I don't think they really want to make things radioactive because that destroys the real estate and everything that's there, But then again, who the hell knows? Now, I think the other thing is, though, if you remember that Kissinger alluded to, I think it was back in the 90s, Henry Kissinger, he says, at one time, people would abhor, that right now, people would abhor peacekeepers coming in that were like Russian troops to instill peace in the country. But during times of, increased domestic turmoil, they would welcome it. And I can already see how that could possibly be. Now, I don't think she's on board with the freaking Russian deal. Not at all. She's an idiot, man. She really is. She's stupid. Unfortunately, honestly, though, I can't really criticize all her supporters because some of her supporters don't realize what's going on with her. And they also are rightfully saying the stuff about the Bush family. And I know about the Bush family. I also know about 90%. I could tell you a lot of stuff about what goes on in the Republican Party. And even H.W. Bush, he's a freak. Okay? I don't even want to mention what he does sometimes, when he did back in his younger days. When you're in that skull and bones, you do some freaky things. But let me say that, in the government, they got a bunch of asswipes. And that's the problem. We don't need them. Now, I saw something on, I'm going to mention something here. I saw something on Iraqi veteran, I think the guy's name is, on one of the YouTube channels. And, he talks about guns and stuff. And, I'm not really too much watching that channel, but I don't subscribe to it. But I noticed something like YouTube put on their feed, recommend it for me, right? And it said, I saw this video pop up on Iraqi veteran about the 5 guns to buy before an election. See, this is one of the big points with her. She's going to try to go for gun control big time. That's an elitist thing, disarm the Americans. And they said, get this, get that. I'm going to tell you, don't get anything with a lot of bells and whistles. I mean, I've seen so many videos. I gotta put something out separate on this, but I gotta mention it on this video. That's one of the things why a lot of people don't like Hillary, because she wants to disarm the peasants so she can freaking kill them or do whatever she wants. She's the administrative assistant that works for the bad guys. Basically, that's what she is. Um, but she's not the leader. I can guarantee you right now. But don't get nothing too fancy. The standard stuff works. Like the AR platform is good enough. Keep the bolt oiled. If the bolt goes dry, it jams. The AK is actually more reliable, less accurate, and weighs more, but it's more reliable because way the gas system works. It's more reliable actually in dirt. I guess that, and if the bolt can go dry and it can still run, but you don't need to get something crazy fancy like some of these people. Cause I looked at a video by an Iraqi veteran. I was like, holy shit! For what he put into one AR-15, whatever the hell it was, he could have had like 10 of them. For crying out loud, man! You just gotta make sure your magazines work and all this kind of shit. Don't get nothing. You're better off not having too many calibers too. Keep with standard calibers. Don't get into weird shit. I mean, some of the weird stuff is a lot better, but I know the military made some stupid decisions. I like the 6.5 Grendel, and that probably would be the best one going. Or actually, the 300 Blackout is good. Actually, the 300 Blackout would be better with like a 6 millimeter, or maybe between a 6 and a 7 millimeter. But I don't want to diverge on that too long. But don't go hog wild on equipment so much. I mean, yeah, get the shit, make sure it's reliable, make sure it's good, but don't overdo it because, you know, it's harder to. It's almost like anybody that's even in, and she calls it. Well, I got to make a separate video on this actually, because I don't want to go too long on that issue. But it's almost like you get too concentrated. Yeah, the equipment accounts, you want it good, but if it's more you. It's more you, the shooter. It's more your actual psychological conditioning that you can actually fight. That it means something. That's more important. You don't want to be thinking, I got a match trigger and I got the mag pull handle and it matches and I got this thing on a ray gun on the front. Yeah, you got to be thinking about kill the target. You know what I mean? And you got to think like Vlad, man. See, that's why I kind of like him. These people are my problem. Get them, get rid of them. Anyway, actually, that's so we're actually, if Hillary gets in, we're actually. It don't matter who the hell gets in some ways. Because I think Trump gets in, make America great is going to look like, what are you talking about? The implosion's already starting before the election, for crying out loud. You notice what's going on, right? I mean, silver and gold is kind of like the canary in the gold mine bullshit. It's going up now despite them trying to hold it down. I mean, it's kind of telling you a lot of things are starting to fall apart before the election. They're going to try to hold it together as much as possible all the way through the election so the incumbent party stays in. But say Trump got in, the bottom would fall out. Now, if Hillary gets in, maybe the bottom won't fall out economically as much right away, but I think the deal is, Putin ain't going to like that. And this guy, he's going to bitch slap that one. No problem, man. I mean, in a way, actually, I do like the guy. I mean, I always did. Even though I criticized the hell out of him on a lot of my videos. But, my point was, you don't want to worship a leader. You don't want to say, oh, Russia, save us. Because this guy's not Santa Claus, okay? If you can't freaking stand on your own 2 feet and save yourself, I don't know what the hell you're asking Santa Claus, somebody posing as Santa Claus, to do it for you. You're an idiot. That's all it comes down to. But, I could tell you, I'm not too keen on the Russian mindset, though, in a lot of ways, because, to tell you the truth, I worked for a Russian colonel, real one, and he actually hired me because this man is Marine. He was in Marine Corps a long time. I didn't like that guy. I mean, I liked him in some ways, but they got an attitude like, they're bullwinkle moose, man. Their head can't fit through the freaking door, and that is kind of like your typical Russian officer. They're not like the American officers at all. American officers are you're all part of the team. The Russians are like, you don't want to be dealing with that shit. And I can tell you, Vlad's got that in his head, too. I don't want to be critical of him here, but people I think like Vlad's going to save the world. He's going to be helping us though, and he's going to be helping us if she gets in though. But if everything comes down and everything falls apart or some shit, and we have an EMP and there's chaos and all this kind of shit, and if the Russian troops come here at invitation of the world peacekeeping body, United Nations, that ain't gonna be cool. And I'm gonna go over some gun stuff on another video. I might as well. And the gun thing isn't even. Actually, the food thing's more important than the gun thing. But this lady's I don't know. I'm just telling you that's what's good. She might get in. I don't think due to real popular vote, but due to vote scam. I mean, I read that book, Vote Scam 2000. It was mainly concentrating on voting fraud down in South Florida. I read that years ago, right? That was before, it was like the internet was around, but it wasn't too big. There wasn't much on the internet. I read that book way back when. I know that they can rig the votes a lot. And the fact that, Bill Clinton won 5 times in Arkansas, that was rigged. Guarantee you that. The other thing is, there's other things that could be coming up too. Maybe when we go to, we're expecting Trump's going to be on a Republican nomination. And, I'm not even I'm beginning to wonder, I don't know about this guy, to tell you the truth. I'm one of the few people questioning this guy big time. I know in the last 2 years he's been like, oh, the Clintons are evil, and I'm for this, and I'm for that. But, before that, he was pretty, he was loving the Clintons. I don't know. And, a lot of stuff he was saying, like, if I was a politician, I'd never say, I'm going to build a wall on the southern border. First off, even if I was going to build a wall, I wouldn't say it. Number two, Eisenhower stopped all illegals coming over the border with 10% of the border patrol resources that we're using today. And and I'm not talking about 1950s dollars to today's dollars. I'm talking about real dollars compared, right? No inflation. If you take out the inflation factor. Now, he did that because the policies were different. In other words, you catch them, you freaking send them back, and you freaking make sure they stay back, But he was like, today, the Border Patrol has been catch and release, and, most of the services they're doing is actually helping the illegals that come across the border. Like the Border Patrol right now, Homeland Security, in cooperation with G4S, is actually helping illegals to come off deep inside the country, other than Mexican ones, too. Now, I'm okay with that if you got something that's 35, C cup on the top, nice 22 waist and a nice butt, and she looks young and hot, yeah, we'll send her in. But bring that stuff in. But otherwise, I don't, I'm not for that. That's what I think Bill Clinton ought to screen the immigrants. Anyway, so she's gonna actually cause big antagonism between the U.S. and Russia. She has called, publicly as, not a blogger or some shit, not somebody on the internet saying, Vladimir Putin's like freaking Adolf Hitler. I know he's not like Adolf Hitler. I'm just gigging him. I did that in one of my videos. But she was doing it as, Secretary of State or former Secretary of State, calling him Adolf Hitler. You want to piss that guy off? Even if he was like Adolf Hitler, say he was, right? Say he was. If you want to piss, he was fighting Adolf Hitler. That's like the big enemy of Russia. That's the one they lost, millions of Russians fighting the Nazis and stuff. That was the big enemy for his whole life. To call him that is like the biggest insult this guy could possibly have. And, she didn't do it in a weird, funny way. She did it in a serious way, Like some people on the internet might do it in a weird, funny way. This guy, she is going to freaking cause the USA to be totally confrontational with Russia. My opinion is on Russia, and you'll get mad at me with this. I think the USA and Russia ought to get together and rule the world. Just period. We run it. I think Russia and the United States ought to be strategic partners. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff from the Bush family along that camp, but the thing is, I don't like the way they get so totalitarian with the people. That's the problem. I don't like that part because they screw up. In other words, if the USA and Russia get together to rule the world, the one thing that needs to be the supreme law of the land on both USA side and the Russian side is the Bill of Rights, exactly the way it was enshrined by the founding fathers, which means we the people, which means we the American people and we the Russian people have inalienable God-given rights. Period. I'm okay with Russia and the United States getting together under that condition. If that condition's not met, and it's just some dictator on the top that's freaking joining forces, I'm not for it. See? That means the Second Amendment, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, and, whatever the regions, whatever you got in Russia, states, you got regions and stuff. They're actually in Russia, some of those areas are pretty much semi-autonomous. But, I don't know. Actually, I kind of like the Russians in a lot of ways. They got that Ural motorcycle with the two-wheel drive in the back that goes in the snow. Anyway, and they got a good rifle. That's actually not a bad rifle, that AK-47. It really ain't. But I'm gonna be talking guns in another video here pretty soon. I'm probably just gonna do like a voiceover on shit and tell you some crap I know, because it takes me too long to freaking go pull out stuff and go do stuff and yeah. But I know my shit. Believe me, I do know my shit. Got a very pragmatic way of thinking about things. When it comes down to it, I mean, you could have a 22 Marlin, and if you're not afraid to freaking use it and use it in a defensive and aggressive manner, a 22 Marlin is going to be better advantage to you than somebody who's got all the bells and whistles on their AK and all this other crap, and they're thinking about the color of the freaking foregrip has to match the pistol grip, and gives a shit. Put duct tape on it. Anyway, Vlad, welcome to the USA. You want to be in the White House? I don't give a shit. I'd rather have you in the White House than her. Tell you the truth. If you're running, yeah, you know what? I'll leave you with this thought. If Vlad jumped in as a third party USA right now, I'd vote for him over freaking Hillary. No problem. I'm serious. There be no question about it. If Vlad Putin was running against Hillary Clinton in this country, and I ain't no communist. I can tell you that right now. I can tell you who the communist is. You think Vlad's the communist because he's Russian? Nah, Hillary's the communist, big time. So keep that in perspective, and I'll leave you with that thought. And I'd almost think that most people that have listened, if they got this far in this video, they probably agree with that. They probably would vote for Vlad if he was, say, voting on the Republican side versus Hillary's on the Democratic side. And, you just also Bernie, if you're a Bernie supporter, I don't think you guys are screwed up. I disagree with you guys somewhat on Bernie, but I can also see how a lot of people could like Bernie. So I'm not like some hardcore freaking Republican yo-yo, because I don't like a lot of those jerks too. But I can see how a lot of people like Bernie, even though he calls himself a socialist and all this kind of crap. It's not exactly, I don't know. I mean, I think he's wrong, but I mean, I would not be aggravated if Bernie got, people support Bernie. I'm not aggravated about them. I'm aggravated about people that support freaking Hillary. Anyway, over now.